when we used to sit with my teacher, Rudy, in New York, say about 20 times in a talk, work. Work, 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 work. And he really pushed us to work, to work. And I think that work meant a few things. Work meant literally work. Do your work in the world. Do your work in the world with great attention and great enthusiasm, maybe even passion if it's possible. I think Rudy felt that if you do that, wherever you start is not where you will end up. And however it flows, it will constantly be refining you, and you will be refining your work experience in the world. And that should bring you to a place of stability in your financial life, meaning you should have a place to stay and enough to eat. But most importantly, you should have self-esteem. Coming to a place of self-esteem allows you to start to feel good about yourself. And that good feeling is an experience that we should work to grow. We should grow that good feeling. And in growing that good feeling, we will come to know our deepest inner landscape. And this is work, because growing that good feeling is going to bring us into contact with everything that we don't like about ourselves and that we don't like about our life, and what we don't like about ourselves, which we will have to train our minds to constantly release and let go of, to continuously reconnect to that simple, good feeling. To have some roots in a place, to connect to a work and some people that become the fabric of our life, and to begin to find in that context a simple good feeling within ourselves that we are sustaining, changes everything. And finding that simple good feeling allows us, it allows us to feel what we're feeling acutely enough that we can begin to explore what we're feeling very deeply. Most of the time, what people feel is pain. And after a while, feeling pain is such a drag that we just don't want to go there anymore. And so there are, a few strategies for eliminating the pain, none of which are successful. It never works. But having that simple good feeling and understanding that it is always accessible to us allows us to begin to unpack all the pain that we have suppressed without drowning in it, without getting lost in the past, and begin to release every tension within ourselves and every doubt and every fear so that we can meet ourselves and our day every day with clarity and joy. This is work. I mean, it's real work. But it is a work that is completely transforming of our whole life experience, and it is a work that in the end brings us to a place where we can really, completely, totally ascend. It is a work that allows every experience that we've had in this world to become a blessing. Instead of and especially the hard ones, which for most people are a curse. It's work. But if you're willing to work, it is the most rewarding work that you'll ever find or experience. And it will allow you the opportunity to have a lifetime of learning and an ever-increasing experience, ever-increasingly refined experience of beauty. Sometimes, I get some feedback that I don't deliver enough content, that I don't define my terms clearly enough, and I agree. The only thing I can say about that is that, I have 8 books, 200,000 videos on the web, and a scriptural library, a reference library that is as wide as this room. And while I agree with you, I really do agree. I really agree that, and I intend to focus on more detail. If I continue teaching, I'm going to be a lot more careful about content. But in the meantime, I have to say that that if you really care to understand yourself, there are a couple things that are important. If you really want to have a meaningful life experience, I think, first of all, you need to get yourself together. And getting yourself together is going to take three things. It's going to take a model to operate in. A model. Now for me, my model is Kashmir Shaivism. I mean, it's bigger than that now, it's Shakta Shaivism. And some of you will have no idea what that means, and that's fine. If you're interested, you'll figure out what it means. Some people have Christianity as a model. I grew up in that, and there was a time about when I was 16 that ceased to work for me. It might, evidently Some people find it meaningful, and that's wonderful. And I'll say the same about all other, religious systems. We need a model. Personally, my model does not include the Ten Commandments. It's not that I have something against the Ten Commandments. I think they're wonderful. I think that's great. They are like traffic laws in Boston. It's a suggestion. And it's perfectly reasonable suggestion. I only wish for myself that the people who are very adamant, who are totally intense about the Ten Commandments would actually live by them. That would be wonderful. And if America, in fact, were a Christian country, then wouldn't it be incredible if, there was like a 50-year period in our history when we weren't at war? I mean, I could go on, but I can get fired up about that conversation, but I'm leaving it now. The thing I want to say to you is we need a model. The thing I have about the Ten Commandments, the reason why it's not a part of my model is because I completely don't believe what underlies the Ten Commandments. And what underlies the Ten Commandments is judgment. I do not, in all of my 50 years of intense meditative practice, have I ever met a judge. And I am completely confident at the end of my days in this world, there is no judgment. The judge is your own mind, and the judgment is the condition of your own heart, period. We need a model. We need a model that facilitates self-acceptance and the growth of knowledge and the growth of happiness and the growth of love. When I say growth of knowledge, I mean our personal skill bases, our skill sets, and our understanding of what we're doing in this world and how we're doing it and why we're doing it. We need a model. My model is Kashmir Shaivism because, first of all, because it speaks about Kundalini. Kundalini is the power in you that animates your body and your mind and your emotions. Kundalini is the breath of life in you. It is the breath of God. That is the essence of what we are. And it's a fundamental part of my model because, because at a certain point I had an experience that rose up inside me and just shook me. Hey, pay attention. But okay. The next thing we need is mentors. Because any model, you can go read a book and have a model and say, you can read a book on Kashmir Shaivism, you won't have any idea what it is. What we need are mentors to help us understand how what is in that book translates into how we walk through our days. And it is mentors, interacting with mentors, that helps us deepen our understanding of our model. And when I started my practice 50 years ago, I had a simple model. And today, my model is very, very different than it was then. In some ways, it's even simpler, but it is certainly much more sophisticated. My awareness of the detail is very much greater than it ever was, ever has been. Models have to transform themselves, and that transformation happens in interaction with mentors. And the final thing that we need is a practice. A practice that brings us back into connection with our own self, with our deepest self, with the heart of our heart, with the place inside us where we feel everything. We need a practice that brings us into contact with the essence of ourself every single day. Because it is bringing ourselves into contact, bringing our mind into contact with our heart, feeling what we really feel, will allow us to integrate all of the experiences of this world into a model that it reflects the authenticity of a conversation with our mentors and allows us to develop ever more skillfully our own self in this world in a stable, peaceful, loving way. And that's work. So let's make a flow and let's grow it. Making a flow and growing it, that's the practice of Kundalini. Namaste, everybody.